Hello and welcome to the Wednesday check-in presented by the Gokhstein News Network. I'm your host, Landy, and today is the start of a new month and a new quarter. Today is October 1st, 2025, and we have something very important going on with Bitcoin here, something that we've been looking for and talking about as a potential to the upside, and something that the bulls wanted to see happen has now happened, and that is a close above the 118 level. Now with this, we've also seen Bitcoin dominance kind of rally off of its low side structure as well and put in an uptrending structure, a trend reversal setup that has confirmed, in addition to Bitcoin rallying above the prior resistance. Now the prior resistance has been tested a few times. And I'm going to show you that in just a moment and show you what to look for going forward. But I wanted to point out what structure is right now on the daily, and that realistically, a lot of people are hand-wringing about missing the move, when in reality, the next move would be a confirmation of a trend reversal setup on a closing basis, because we had a trend break to the downside on a close. Yes, swing trend was down, but the same candle that put in the swing downtrend here with the lower low swing also put in the lower high swing. So this was not a closing lower high. So essentially we're coming off of a higher high swing and close to a lower low swing and close. And now that would be a trend break. So this uptrend got broken, and now we got a trend break right back to the top side. So lower low to take out the higher high. This is another trend break. So what do we expect to happen from here? No matter how high price goes from here, by the way, well, we'd be looking for higher low or equal low structure, and that would be the trend reversal setup. And that's now obviously there was bids off of this zone. I talked about some of the long positions that I was taking around the weeklies. After putting in the daily structure over here, we had that beautiful, perfect close open right on the weekly at 109, which was the weekly prior higher high close. And of course, we had the swing high at 112 as a big area. So the next thing to watch out for here, now we're going to talk about targets to the upside. They're already kind of on the screen here. It's going to be the highs over here at 120 to 121 above there. I believe shorts have to reposition, and that could lead to an extension of a rally to 123 to 124 and a half, 125 area, which was the next big target. We had our 123 to 125. We tagged both of those targets above there. There's 128 to 130, so on and so forth. But what's important is that Bitcoin, no matter how high it goes from here, we look for, the last low is what we need to reference as the most important area. And then, of course, we can get a bias as to if it's going to go and likely test certain areas to the downside after it does eventually put in a high, based on our key levels that we've been looking at the entire time. But it's all about the next higher low or equal low setup, or the third option is drop this last lower low, right? But that's a little less likely in most cases, but not, of course, out of the question, as it is, and I mentioned this, Bitcoin needed to close above 118. That's where things get interesting for the bulls. And then we could potentially push up further. And now let's go ahead and talk about that by taking a look at some of the areas of interest to the upside, just to remind those and let those that are new know. For those of you that have been watching for a while, you already know what I'm going to say. We not only, by the way, did we in the Wednesday candle take out 118, we also took out the lower term time frame level here at that 118.641, with a close coming in at 118, 660 essentially. Next big area, we're already kind of pushing up towards that, is the 120 to 121. Now this is the next primary area of resistance. This is the high side structure of that tighter consolidation. And again, you'll note that on Monday we were coming off of the 112 region, that big weekly level down below. And I had mentioned that watch for 114.750. You see that we tagged that, came down, and then got bought back up, and then opened the Wednesday candle and went right into the resistance in lower term timeframes and above. That's exactly what we wanted to see. And after the breakdown, we've had one test, two tests, and then a nice support area, three tests, into this resistance down to main support and then up and away. For the actual high side structures, right at the top side of this area of interest was around the 118, essentially was 2 tests. And then the third, you could consider the zone tested 3 times though, with this higher high to higher low, and then a test up to the top side to fill out and complete that zone of liquidity as overhead resistance before going back to support. And now it's straight on through. So the next big area is going to be 120 to 125. We have the upper second standard deviation. This is going to be an area of resistance, but if we do start seeing lower term time frames trade in and above 120, look for 121 and above. Now we want to see closes, not just swings. But even in lower term time frames, you can see that the opportunity to go test, 123 is there by the upper third to potentially even further at 124.5, 125 area. The big thing is you don't want to see swings up to hit these areas and then a sell-off through or back below 120 to 121 here in the green zone. Back into it, you still want to see, I would say even below 121, you'd want to see closes come in above there, even if it does swing up further. Doesn't mean that it would be over. It's a rejection. Obviously, back to the downside, you want to see this area. And I would even give this, a little bit of a wider area for a pullback. You see the upper first now is right in this zone, right around the 118 or 117 and a half rather. Pulling back into this area between 115.7, 116 to that 118. In lower term time frames, that's an area you want to see as support. I would say for continuation immediately, you'd still want to see somewhere around 117 and a half to 118 hold up in lower term time frames. But on the daily, if it does put in a high, you could even extend that back down to this swing low where the basis band is around that 114.750. If it's dropped, bulls want to hold up at 112. I'll be honest with you. Anywhere below there, it's going to start threatening, equal low territory for a potential trend reversal setup, or threatening this low in general if it starts to get back inside this weekly and the lower first around 112. And then, obviously there's dailies there, and then there's the weekly area, that weekly close at 109. Anywhere below there, of course, we're looking right back to the lower lows, 107.250 to 108.250. And that area needs to hold up for the bulls. I would say that anywhere back below 109 would be likely running that area lower for liquidity, like 104 to 106, split the difference at 105 there with the main daily zone with this low over here. Now, that's kind of my outlook on this is like, look, if it's going to get immediate continuation and go test 120 to 121 from here, it needs to go for it now. Pullbacks to 118, 117 and a half are fine. Daily corrections into this zone would be preferable, especially above 115.7, 116. But 114 and a half in the basis band are going to be, or 114 and a half to 114.750 is going to be fine for pullbacks. Some will give it room down to, at worst, this would be at worst case scenario, 113 and a half to 112, right? The high side structure here, that Bitcoin kind of, right there at 113 and a half or so, 114. We've got, kind of the median in there at 113 and a half to 112 is kind of, that's realistically the area that might be the target if we see 114.750 and the basis band dropped. But that's kind of the last line of defense for the bulls before going in and retesting this last lower low. But from here, again, structure matters. So we had a trend break to the downside here. So broke the uptrend. And now we have a trend break right back to the top side. So from here, no matter where price goes, how high it goes, we are going to see and need to see higher low or equal low structure as it relates to the last low. And that will develop on the chart over time. So I will update you on Friday and then Monday, Wednesday, Friday of next week. But higher low, equal low structure, we can only reference the last lower low right now. And that's what we need to see from here for Bitcoin. And that would be your trend reversal setup. Once confirmed on a close, then typically we need to then see trend continuation with a close back above wherever this high comes in. And we can use all of the relevant zones of interest to gauge when and if that's going to happen. So looks good. It's a nice setup. You can see momentum is turned on the daily here as well. RSI is out of the immediate prior highs bearish divergence area of interest as it stands with as of the close of yesterday. Now, is there as it pushes up here, for some of the high side structure, could we potentially see, especially with this high right in the bullish control zone above here, could we potentially see a bear div or a hidden bear div in this case? Sure, that's corrective at best at first. So I wouldn't be too concerned if you do see that populating. That's where we'd be looking for a correction into a potential higher low or equal low first, and the invalidation of that would be breaking back below the lower low. And that's it for Bitcoin today. Let's go take a look at Bitcoin dominance. You see Bitcoin dominance is rallying off of the main zone. Now, this was a zone from last year. I wanted to point this out. This was in November into December, right? And then it rallied out all the way through. This was 24 into 25, right? So we rallied into the February timeframes, and then of course into May, and then of course the May to April, April to May kind of dominance kind of area was the big Six Sigma event. Bitcoin dominance kind of rose off of that after really putting in a pretty big high in December of last year. And that was supposed to be the high. I do actually, you know what? We're going to go back to Bitcoin for a moment. I want everybody to recall that we've gotten these bearish monthly candles, and I've said this for quite some time, and I'm not saying that this is going to go and make new highs. We have to watch it very closely. But in terms of the monthly candles, remember, everybody was calling for the top back here. When we saw December into January, this inverted hammer, same deal this time. And if we look back to, where were we coming out since the bull market began? The other thing that I wanted to note was the September. So we've seen these bearish candles come in. So we're not seeing the continuation of that, which we would have seen in September. Could it still head down and put in a high? Yeah, anywhere below 105 essentially. But one of the big things that I wanted to point out here is everyone talked about the red September. And I had been mentioning this for quite some time, that ever since we entered this bull market, August was red, September was green. August was red, September was green. And then, of course, we have, now this was 24, and then we had August was red, September is green. Does that mean that we're going to get follow through? Well, I mean, September into October. October was an up month. We had August into September. October was an up month, or Uptober as many call it. Are we going to see the same thing this year? It is definitely in the cards. One of the bigger things that I need to see is the weekly start to resolve this upper first standard deviation. And I'm going to talk about this more on Friday, but upper first at that essentially 117.7, which is the big daily level, 117. It's like 115.7 to 117.7 or 116 to 118. Close above there would target the highs again, right? Right back to 123, the first high, and then 125. And I need to see closes on the weekly above 123. And then, of course, that could also close above 125. That would look good to get expansion on the weekly. We're in a very compressed state right now. 5-day is not going to close until the Thursday candle is closed. So we will follow up with this on Friday. Now, again, this is a trend break to trend reversal setup. And then we failed to actually close below the low at 107. It's 250. Excuse me, 107, 250 on spot. A little bit higher for index here. Sorry about that. And then it's right back to the top side. If the 5-day can close above 118, that would be a trend reversal invalidation to a trend break of that lower high, with a potential for a momentum shift as well in the cards for the Thursday candle. So essentially, you want to see Thursday close above 118 and continue to push higher. Get that lower term time frame continuation. Pullbacks to 118 would look fine. 117.5 would still be on the edge, but you want to see it closing above 118 essentially Thursday. And then of course I'll talk to you again after the Friday close, and we'll talk about the weekly. We will talk about Ethereum a little bit more. I just wanted to kind of take a look at Ethereum. Above 3,900, I said it was fine. It dipped below, and it did even close below, but it picked itself right up off the ground on longer term time frames. We didn't get any higher term time frame closes below 3,900. Did swing below on the daily, went for the 38.75, so $25 under on the close, and even 38.25, almost 3,800 for the swing there. So it did not get that continuation. Immediately, next candle didn't get continuation to the daily zone, and recovered above the upper second and marched right back to the top side, finding resistance where? In the very expected area after sitting on that 888, by the way, closing above it, sitting on it, and then launching from it. You see that $4,020, and then right back to the top side at 4,400. It's 384 right here, and then perfect swing in the lower term time frames. Need to see it above there. Structure still looks good. Back to the top side, we do have this tighter consolidation area of interest, where we saw the breakdown occur after closing below it. We saw the breakdown and run for that daily weekly level, swing it, come back up, find resistance at it, break through it, and now it's hitting the top side of resistance. So we need to see it break above to around 4,500. Above there, it could swing the 4,550, 4,560 area, but realistically, the next big area is 4,600, 4,630 area to that essentially 4,800, with that upper second splitting the difference right around the prior higher high. And that is coming in at that perfectly, almost perfectly with that upper second right now. So Ethereum looks good. Now, in terms of structure and its position in the bands, it's in a little bit different position than Bitcoin. Bitcoin's far above its daily basis band at this particular moment. But, Bitcoin dominance rising, that's what we would expect to see, is a little bit. We still see the fiat rally in terms of the fiat pair, but Bitcoin dominance kind of cannibalizing, taking over on this rally right now. And it's all about the next higher, lower, equal low trend reversal setup. This is still in downtrend territory for the daily. So realistically, what we'd be looking for is probably another lower high, and then look for a trend reversal setup. Just keep an eye on this last lower low, and then a trend reversal setup on a higher high. Off of the high here, and then a higher low, equal low structure for a potential reversal. Otherwise, it has to take out the most recent lower high at around 4,650. If we see that, then it's very likely we'll see higher low, equal low structure from there. So I will touch up on this on Friday. For right now, I'll leave you with all of that and my thoughts on price action. So bulls starting off the quarter strong. We'll see if they can get continuation. They have opportunity here to try and push some of the shorts out. But again, the more leverage that comes into the market, we'll see if the derivative side is really going to keep ticking up. I did want to look at one thing, and maybe I'll look at it on Friday. We'll look at spot premium and see. This is an institutional led rally right now. So we'll see if derivatives are playing catch up and get licked in the lower term timeframes for those longs, and see if the late longs get washed, or if we're just going to continue up from there. And I'll cover this on Friday with you. You have a wonderful morning, afternoon, and evening, no matter where you are in the world. Please trade safe, and of course, as always, stay safe. Go ahead and like and share this out there. And if you liked it and you would like to like it and share it, please do so. And I'll catch up with you on Friday. Landy out. Take care.